Hello, everybody. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. I hope everyone's having a very, very good Bank Holiday Monday. Mixed for me, very much mixed. Obviously, the news has broke at 6 o'clock, bang on the money, that David Moyes is no more at West Ham. He's going to be leaving at the end of the season. Now, for me, this is bittersweet for me because I feel like he's been slightly stitched up to a point by the owners of the club. I think the way he's been treated towards the back end of his sort of reign at West Ham has been really, really bad. But the moments and memories that this geezer's give us, I will never forget. Do you know what I mean? I've never been so emotionally damaged under David Moyes than I have been in his time at the club. It has been up and down, fighting with fans over Moyes in, Moyes out, and it's the right move to go. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to sort of gloat and sort of celebrate it like it's a fucking good thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, yeah, when you've got owners like ours, they only care about one thing, and that's the pound note. Um, his time at West Ham has been, as I say, up and down, but Prague will never be matched for me. That was a time where the whole fan base come together and everyone was united. I think Leon away was epic. That was an epic sort of moment. Seville, the home game, the atmosphere from the boys when they told me about it, and they said it's just an amazing feeling to feel that sort of European sort of emotion. Yeah, and just the Conference League as a whole, really. Do you know what I'm saying? Obviously, the games that we won, everything else. Now, people can say that anyone could have won that trophy, but West Ham did win that trophy. West Ham was the first British team to win that trophy, and David Moyes won that trophy, so he deserves a bit of credit for that. Obviously, this season hasn't gone as well, yeah, and it's been a lot of in-house fighting with YouTube channels and things like that. And now the time has come for it to be like a clean slate for everyone. Yeah, the only issue I have is moving forward in the future in regards to Lopetegui. That's a speech for another time. But for David Moyes, he has brought us some fucking heartache. I'm not gonna lie, there's been some painful results. Yesterday was a prime example of that. It's also brought us some joy though. Do you know what I'm saying? Some really, really good moments, good times, good memories, things like that. So I'm going to bring a few people in. Anyone who wants to come and have their say, they can. And I'll sort of wrap up my end of this at the end. So let's get Lee. I ain't seen Lee for ages. Lee, how you doing, my friend?
Well, I promised myself I wouldn't cry, James. That's how I feel about right now.
Mm, yeah.
Uh,
What'd you make of it, Lee?
well, I don't want to go on about this for hours and hours. I'll say what I said on Twitter a few minutes ago. I still feel as though if the board had backed Moyes in January, if the board had, and I really blame the board for this. If the board had not made the squad weaker,
Yeah.
then we'd probably be playing for Europe, or qualified for Europe. We might be playing in a Europa League semifinal. I genuinely believe that. I think we were so close, and I think things started to fall apart in part because the message in January was, "We don't believe in you. We don't think you can do it. We don't think you can do it again. So we're not going to bring in, reinforcements. We're not going to bring in more players. We're just going to sort of, make it worse." All that considered, it's obvious that this calendar year, has really been very bad, and I don't think there's any way Moyes could have signed a new contract. I think on multiple levels he had to go, um, mainly because the fans wouldn't have had him back,
Yeah.
but also, um, I think everybody just sort of, I don't want to say lost interest, but it's kind of how it seems, um, after the January window. And then, you had all these things that happened, like AFCON, and Bowen got injured, and Antonio got injured, and Alvarez got suspended, and there's a couple of different competitions. And all this stuff just added up. And if you add that to what was a kind of disappointing January, and that, again, the team got worse and not better, I think the message combined with the circumstances just doomed everybody.
Yeah.
Um, Now, I know people have complained about Moyes for a long time, and I understand why. The complaints about style are totally legitimate to me. I just don't care about style. That's my personal feeling. I care about winning, and he won a lot for us, and he won a lot more than most managers have in the history of the club. So if you want to make a style argument, that's fine. That's fine. I don't really want to have that argument because it's irrelevant to me. I think there's the two things that probably strike me the most are I think that you know again, I think if he'd had some support, we would at least be in. Now, would he be staying? I don't know, because a lot of people didn't like him anyway. But I think we'd be in Europe, and we might have even overcome Leverkusen. We weren't far away. We're far away from being
Yeah.
the best team in Europe, right? We weren't. Um, the other one is this feels like the end of an era, and not just a Moyes era, but and I hope I'm wrong about this. It feels like the end of a European era. Um, I genuinely hope that Julian Lopetegui will make us forget about David Moyes, John Lyle, Ron Greenwood, Harry Redknapp, and all the rest. That he'll be the greatest manager we've ever had.
Yeah.
There's nothing I want more than that. I just want West Ham to win. I don't care who the manager is. I really don't. I just want West Ham to win. And so if Lopetegui is the guy who's going to get us to where we want to be, consistent top six, winning trophies, great. Please let him be that. I will absolutely back him unless we're in dire relegation trouble next season. I'll back him
Mm.
all season long. All season long. You know what I mean? Just yeah, because we all need to unite for once and not argue with each other and not throw the next manager out before he has a chance to put his system into place. So yeah, I hope he's the guy. I can't help but feel a little pessimistic about that. He feels like a Sullivan appointment. He feels like a cheap appointment. His I know Moyes came in with a spotty track record too, but Moyes had also had a good solid run at Everton. And I don't think Lopetegui has really had a solid run anywhere. He had Sevilla, but he kind of took over a club that was already good. He kept it
Yeah.
good. You know what I mean? They had already won 3 Europa Leagues by the time he got there. He won another one. Okay. They were, I think, 6th the season before he arrived. I think they were 4th in his first season. Okay. I mean, fine. He did a good turnaround job with Wolves. Got them out of the relegation zone. Credit for that. But then he walked away. So we don't know that much about him. He doesn't have a long track record for a guy his age. To me, I don't think he does. He didn't win a trophy at Porto. James, you and I could win a trophy at Porto. I mean, every Porto always wins a trophy. All right, Porto, Benfica, and to a lesser extent, Sporting have kind of until recently have been the third of the three, and now they're back up with Amorim in charge. But Porto, Benfica, if you don't win a trophy there, I mean, that's not a failure. That's the bottom falling out of the club.
Yeah.
So he's had resources and he's had a mixed record. And I didn't see anything about him. I don't know much about him. I haven't watched a lot of his teams play, obviously. I didn't see anything about him that held any special appeal that made me think, yeah, he's the right guy for us. But I'm going to have faith in Tim Steichen to pick good players, and I'm going to have I wouldn't say faith, but I'm going to have to hope that David Sullivan will sign those players, and then we move on. So, I really want this to be the beginning of a great new era because I love West Ham and I want West Ham to win. I cannot help but feel as though it's the end of an era, and what we're going into is a total unknown. A total unknown. I'll be honest with you, if Ruben Amorim were coming in, I'd be excited. I would think there's a progressive young manager with a great track record. Players are going to sign for him. This guy, it just feels like it's foggy. You know what I mean? It's just fog ahead is all I see.
Yeah, I agree, mate. What you've just said there is pretty much how I feel, mate. It's pretty much how I feel. I think the fan base comes together now to a point from now to the end of the season and
Yeah.
just goes like that stops. Like the Moyes in, Moyes out shit will stop. Like that's the first thing. The only
Yeah,
issue
there's
I
no
have,
reason for that now. It's over now. Yeah.
yeah, the only issue I have though, Lee, is that the way he's been treated to a point. Because I feel like
Yeah,
this has been
absolutely.
coming like to go out and scout for other managers and not even tell us that the original manager's on his way out. Like it's just lack of class, lack of
It's
sort
just
of respect.
it's one thing, I mean, look, I know our form's been bad in 2024. We all know about that. We're nowhere near the relegation zone. Okay, we were playing for Europe until about 2 weeks ago. If he were an abject failure, if he were Pellegrini or Bilic or Avram Grant, and they stepped in and said, "All right, you got to go," and they look for me, and I would understand that completely. But that's not where we are. I mean, we have a chance to finish in the top 10, and I counted the other day, and I may have miscounted, but I don't think I did. In 130 years, West Ham have finished in the top 10 of the top flight 20 times. Okay,
Yeah,
10, 20. And 130 years. Now that's top flight, not second division and the old, London Floodlight League or whatever it is they were in the 1890s.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about, so and if we finish top 10, that's 3 times in 4 years under Moyes, and that'd be only 21 in the history of the club. I mean, you know, um, he's got a good record, and so I think the whole publicly go, it just they should have just said, look, his contract is up. We're not sacking him. His contract is up. He's gone at the end of the season, and as such, we're going to look for another manager. You can't. How if you think about it, James. I mean, think about how think about what we've experienced since December. When, if I'm not mistaken, we were fourth, weren't we, in December?
Yes.
Top of the
Six.
Europa,
Yeah.
or
Six.
six, top six anyway. I mean, good contenders for Europe, top of the Europa League group, and then you had, and some of this is Moyes' fault, and some of it isn't. You had no backing in January. You had AFCON, you had Bowen and Antonio injured, you had Alvarez suspended, you had Piqueta decided he doesn't want to play for the club anymore and just basically check out on us. Then you had a continued fan revolt that had been going on for a while that got worse and worse and worse. And some of it was justified and some of it wasn't. I think everything, and then keep in mind, let's not forget how many points we've lost to VAR and bad decisions. I mean, don't forget Newcastle. Don't forget Burnley. I mean, who's it? Burnley we played when the guy,
Yeah. And
I mean,
yeah.
a 14-year-old ref in one of my kids' games would have called that a penalty. So how VAR misses it, I don't know. But you had the 5.5-minute check in one of those games. If you remember, there was a 5.5 minute to disallow one of our goals. I mean, all that stuff came together, and I feel as though a vocal segment of our fans blamed all of it on Moyes, and only part of it's his fault. Of course, it's partly his fault that the players lost interest. Of course, it's partly his fault that he didn't make good substitutions, that we've conceded 70 goals. I mean, that he made Zuma captain, and that wasn't a good choice. Yeah, he made a lot of mistakes. He did. He has made a lot of mistakes, but you can't pin everything in 2024 on him. And I think the people who did that did it really unfairly. But you know what? It's all in the past now because he's moving on. We're moving on, and we all have to get together and back Lopetegui. We have to. I don't like him as a choice. That's okay. I still support him, and I'm not going to complain about him unless okay, if we're rock bottom in December, you know what I mean, 10 points away from safety, then yeah, I'll complain about it. But I'm not going to complain about him unless we're in dire trouble.
I'm going to ask you, I'm going to ask you a few questions, Lee, before I let you go, because I know you're busy. Yeah. First question is, best moment other than Prague for you under David Moyes?
I would any of the wins over Chelsea, Tottenham, even beating Arsenal away this season. I mean, I know everybody forgot about that because of the 6-0 at home, but going into the Emirates and beating Arsenal, I mean, look, we might have ruined their title challenge. We might have ruined Liverpool's title challenge too, along with Everton and Palace. We didn't do that alone. Any of the wins over the big clubs, and I know there was a lot of criticism about Moyes that he never beat the big clubs, but that wasn't really true. This season alone, we've beaten Chelsea, Tottenham, and Arsenal. So I think any of those. You could say any of those. The other one, though, for me was probably Lyon. As great as Sevilla was, I hate Lyon. I'm a fan of Saint Etienne. They're my French club. They're big rivals. They hate each other. Saint Etienne were more successful for decades, and then Lyon have been more successful in the last 25 years. And after what's his name winked at us,
Yeah, Dembele.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I just wanted to thrash those guys. So going in there and doing that, and then having the fans sing Moyes' name after that, that's up there. That's really high up there for me. I mean, just the whole, 3 consecutive runs in Europe, knockout stages in all of them. As much as Frankfurt hurt because I thought we could have won the whole competition, and I'm absolutely sure we'd have beaten Rangers, but as much as Frankfurt hurt, Lyon was almost as good as Prague.
Yeah, it was. It was so good. It was a good experience, but like that. You know what I'm saying?
And it felt back then like the beginning of something and not the middle or the end. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, where can we go from here? We can go anywhere from here. We could be in Champions League, and it just, so on that one day and that one moment, that was a great night. day
It was.
actually here.
It was. It was. I must admit. Um, Final question, Lee, is what is the standard now at West Ham? What should be the standard for moving forward? Obviously, Moyes has set a standard at West Ham to
Well,
be this European side sort of thing.
I'll give you two answers and how I really feel. Number one is the practical answer is we should be in Europe no matter what. All right, because I feel as though we're sacking Moyes for missing out on Europe, which we've only missed out on Europe in the last 3-4 weeks of the season, right?
Mm.
So if the standard is Europe, then Europe is a minimum. Conference League's fine. Conference top 7 is a minimum. That's the practical answer. I think for me, for the sake of our fans, I think we give Lopetegui a season just to sort himself out, and as long as we're not relegation fodder,
Yeah.
just let him put his system into place. Let him get his players in. Maybe we finish 10th, 12th, 14th. You know what I mean? As long as we're safe in April, you know, and then you judge him. Then you judge him based on the season after that. You know, and you see how Sullivan's going to work with him, how Steiton's going to work with him. So we need unity, and I'm willing to say, and I know nobody cares what I think, but I'll put a personal moratorium on slating the guy for a whole season again, unless we're in dangerous trouble, which I don't think we will be. But my, so in a sense, the answer should be Europe. But I think for me, for one season, the answer is just get yourself settled, get yourself into place, get your players in, get used to working with David Sullivan, get used to working with Tim Steiton, and then 25, 26, that's when, I think we need to expect at that point, if we're doing what I think we should be doing, then yeah, we should expect top 6, top 7.
Yeah.
Not,
Yeah.
not unreasonable because we've done it before. I
I
don't know. What do you
agree.
think?
I agree to a point. I think West Ham have to be at least top 10 next year. Otherwise, if West Ham finish 10th next year and then we build from that, then I can accept that. I don't think West
Yeah.
Ham being 13th is because the argument will be, Lee, I know what's going to come.
Yeah.
West Ham go out, they do a major rebuild in the summer, bring in loads of players, spend loads of money, and people, if we finish 13th next season, people say, well, we spent 200 million, we're finishing 13th. So
Yep. Yep.
you've got like for me, David Moyes has set the standard as a top 10 club, and
Yes.
that's what I expect as a supporter of this club, like you and like everyone else, should
Right.
expect top 10 finishes, so to speak.
Well, I mean, and people are upset that we might not finish top 10. And again, 20 times in 130 years, a top 10 finish in the top flight. That's we're not Liverpool. You know what I mean? We're just
Yeah,
not. And it's hard. I know we're massive and all that, but we're not Manchester United. We're not Arsenal. We don't have that kind of history. Moyes has absolutely set a new standard. You're right about that, and I think you're right. I think if this time next season we're hanging around 13th, 14th, people are going to viciously be wanting this guy out. They're going to be, and they're not necessarily wanting Moyes back in. No, I don't think they're going to say that, but they're going to be all over him. They're just going to destroy him, and that's kind of what worries me the most is that, I mean, it feels a little, I don't know, like Chelsea or Tottenham or something. Do you know what I mean? Like we have these, um, well,
expectations, then.
expectations, which I still say David Moyes performed above expectations historically in terms of how we spend and the investment we make, in terms of our ownership. He performed above expectations. And I think if you look at the numbers, our total cost of squad at the end of last season was ninth in the Premier League, a lot closer to 10th than it was to the top. All these, Kieran Maguire, is that his name, puts his stuff out on Twitter. You can go look. These are real numbers. Net spend is something like 10th in the last 4 years, basically in Moyes' time. People talk about how much money he spent. Everybody spends money, right? Everybody spends money. We're right in the middle of the table in terms of money spending. If you count transfer fees, salary, wages, the whole thing, right in the middle. So the fact that he had a 6th, 7th, a European trophy, I mean, even with the season finishing 14th, he's still performing above expectations, in my opinion. And I think that oh, I think that you're right. If this new guy is, if Lopetegui rocks up and we're 13th, and at this time next year, it's not going to be. They're going to want him gone. I would be willing to give him, a little longer because I think we need. I think we need some sanity. I mean, we have got to get rid. And I don't talk about this guy on Twitter because I don't want to interact with him. But we've got to get rid of this claret and booze guy. I mean, just look, it's one thing to oppose Moyes if you don't like his style, say he's boring. Hey, it is boring. I mean, it is. Although I don't mind because we win. I actually like counterattacking football, you know.
Yeah.
But if you don't put the vicious, nasty, profane rants, to me, are just not necessary and not justified. Just not justified. And he seems to have turned so many people in his direction. And you know what another thing is, and people are going to hate me for saying this, all right, but I'm going to say it anyway. A lot of the people who have opposed Moyes are boomers, all right? They miss John Lyle. They miss the Bolin. They miss the days when money didn't rule football. They miss dropping, 50p in the bucket and going through the turnstile and watching from the terraces. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And I respect that. All right. I wish I could have experienced that myself. I'm old enough.
Yeah.
I was just not English, I mean, I'm 50. I could have done it in the 70s and 80s, at least in the 80s, but I didn't get the chance. So I respect that completely. But, guys, John Lyle, God bless him. Wonderful manager, great man, a gentleman by every report I've ever heard. He's no longer with us. All right. He's not coming back. And that era is not coming back. That football is not coming back. And if you go and you look at Rob Banks's excellent video series on the history of the club, which he started at the beginning of the Lyle era, if I'm not mistaken, he's gone way up now. I'm way behind. I got to catch up. But we have played a lot of crap football back then too. I'm sorry, but it's true. A lot of bad results, a relegation, 3 seasons in the second division.
Do you know what it is though, Lee? I just want to say this, right? What it is people, the expectation at West Ham is raised. I do think a lot of people have been telling porcupines a lot of lies.
Yeah, I do too.
About a lot of stuff. And the problem is the fan base has been lied to for the last 9 months. And now the truth is setting in and the reality is setting in that it's okay getting rid of Moyes. You're going to get served up Lopetegui. Tim Stein has not picked him. Sullivan's always going to pick the manager.
Exactly. I mean, have you seen the spin? The new spin is that Tim picked Lopetegui. I just don't believe that at all. I just think that's absolutely a lie. I mean, everything we read indicated that Noble and Stuyton wanted Lopetegui, and if they didn't want him, they wanted Fonseca or somebody else. Now Slot got hired, and I can't remember. And they said no, I guess, to the German guy, the former national team manager. I'm not even able to think of his name. But anyway, so I mean, unless everybody was just completely mistaken, everything I read indicated that Lopetegui was Sullivan's guy. He wasn't Tim's guy. He wasn't Noble's guy. Well, guess who we ended up with? We ended up with Sullivan's guy. Well, we were always going to end up with him. And now people are coming on and saying, "Oh no, Tim wanted him. Tim wanted him. He impressed Tim." I mean, I think Tim settled. I think Tim settled for him is what happened. And I'd say, and I'll tell you something else about all these in the know people. I'm not in the know in any way. You know that. I live in Boston. I live the whole ocean away from London, so I don't know. All I get is what I get on Twitter and YouTube channels. But I'm just going to say right now, and I'm not going to point at any specific sources, but sometimes people lie to in the know sources. All right. Sometimes people spin to them and lie to them. Sometimes they know things. Sometimes they don't know things. And what I've been seeing lately is, oh yes, Lopetegui impressed Tim. Tim chose him. I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that I don't believe that for a second. Not for a second do I believe that. Just think that's absolute spin and lies. And but again, it kind of doesn't matter because if he's our guy, we got to back him, and I will back him. I just on the record, I would have chosen any of the other managers in contention. I mean, almost literally any of the other ones. But
I know it's just one of them, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Lee, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to get other people on.
Thanks for having me on. I haven't done this in ages. I appreciate it.
No worries, Lee. I'm going to be in touch with you over the next sort of 24 hours. I want to speak to you about something in the future. So, I'll be in touch. Take care. That's been Lee, American Hammer.
See you guys.
Take care. Peace. Right, let's get this man in. Kev, how you doing, brother?
Yeah,
you well?
Happening. You good?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Take it away, mate. What do you want to say? about Moyes.
It's sad, ain't it? 2 games remaining in the season, and the news comes out. Moyes probably knew last week. No one really knows what's going on in the background. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's Sullivan. You knew from the start. It's all down to him. He's going to pick and choose. Even he's involved with the transfers, everything. When you're a manager at a club, you should never intervene with transfers. Yeah, he might be putting out the money to the manager, but let the manager do the business himself. He knows what he wants. He knows where the squad needs strengthening. This is a shame what's happened to him today. It's all come out. You know what I mean? I feel sorry for him for what he's done for West Ham.
I think what it is, Kev, yeah, it's not so much him going that I've got the gripe with, because I think all good things do come to an end. Yeah, the time is right for him to go. Yeah, that's what I personally think. The issue I have is the way he's been treated by the board to go out, find another manager, agree terms with another manager, put it all round every sort of journalist and social media platform. Yeah, to say that Lopetegui's the man, because Lopetegui's the man. Don't let no one tell you different. He's coming. I said it 5 months ago. I said it on Spaces. I literally pleaded with people to say, listen, stop getting your hopes up and dreams that you're thinking you're going to go for Alonso, when I'm telling you right now, Lopetegui's there. And I just feel that this has been this has been worked on for 5 or 6 months. I didn't think about it earlier on, and things just you start crossing things off, you start working it all out, how it's all sort of planned out. Like Lopetegui comes in, like he gets spoke to by Sullivan. There's a project there. I'm gonna let you land, bro.
If I was Moyes, I feel really betrayed considering what he's done he's come back at a second stint, remember. He's stabilised us as a Premier League club. Yeah. If really. Top 10 finish, we've been up there. We got into Europe last 3 seasons. We've won the conference as we all know as fans. He's done well, but it's been boring football. Mate, the players don't look like they want to play for him. They're only on the pitch because they've got to be on the pitch. You know what I mean? Yeah, yesterday's result was really bad. I thought we'd done, like we spoke about this, 10, 15 minutes. But as soon as the first and second goal went, I thought, here we go again. Do you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, James, it's wrong the way they've gone about things again. Sullivan again, do you know what I mean? Moyes must feel really heartbroken, to be honest with you. I feel for the bloke. Yeah, like you said, the time's coming. It's come now. But what can this guy offer? Can he take us to the next level? We don't know yet. I say give him first 10 games into next season. It'd be crucial if you think about it.
I'm going to say this to you, Kev, yeah? He will have 18 months at West Ham before the heat starts firmly getting on him. Mark my word on that. West Ham fans, this is what I believe, yeah? I could be fucking completely wrong, but I haven't been wrong about this, right, for the last 5 months. I think West Ham fans will go away in the summer. They will reflect on it and they go, right, come August, new manager, new players, the buzz will start coming back. If Lopetegui doesn't get us in the top 10, yeah, people will look at the money that he's spent in this summer's transfer window and go, well, hold on a minute, like we've got to be getting up there. Then it'd be the following season. If he starts again and it doesn't work out, then that's when he'll start getting handed a little
mate,
bit.
you're right, James. But so from the start of next season, like during the summer, we've got the Euros coming up. But after the Euros finish, he's going to look at potential targets. He can bring 1 or 2 from Wolves. We don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, the thing is, he needs to hit the ground running. To be honest, if we're going to try and get Europe next season for the following season, he's got to hit the ground running from the start of the season. He's got to get them players revving like rev the engine up right up. And you know what I mean? He's got to crack the whip straight away. No, because fans are going to be on his back. As soon as they see a few games lost at the start of the season, there's going to be quite a lot of fans on his back straight away, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Right. I'm going to say this to you, Kevin. I'm going to have to let you go. I've got someone else who wants to come on. Best moment under David Moyes for you, mate, other than Prague?
In the lockdown, away to Tottenham, when we come back, we drew 3-3 when Lanzini scored that screamer.
That was a great memory. Everyone forgets that. Everyone forgets. Everyone remembers all the wins, but that was fucking October. That was a great time. I mean, you brought joy to me face, Kev. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kev, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, take
it easy, mate. All the best to you. Yeah. That's been Kev. Right, let's get this man on. Kane, what you saying, man?
I have nothing but reverence and adoration for David Moyes. And I'll always be grateful for the big nights, the memories. the trophy, for God's sake. I can't believe the job this guy's done, and it's sad how it's ending. The truth is, not many managers go out on a complete high. Even Jurgen Klopp's not going out on a complete high. But that's not going to take away from some of the nights I've had, and I can't thank this man enough. It's not just him; it's the players as well. I think the players don't get enough credit. But David Moyes, he was in the dugout, and he's an important part of our history.
Are you? How can I word this? Do you think he's been stitched up to a point, Kane?
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, he's been stitched up. But I think it was pretty obvious that they weren't going to keep him. January probably signified it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I have a feeling he's sort of packed it in a bit, right? And even if he hasn't, if your level drops below, this is the point George made to me, it's completely true. If your levels drop below 5%, that's a huge margin in the Premier League, and no wonder we've been crap, right? I think the players have as well. They don't know what's going on. It's a shame, but he's been stitched up by the boards, to Sullivan, and he's had a portion of the fan base hound him out, in my opinion, and just constantly going at this guy. It's not been nice. It's been a bit horrible. So in sort of that regard, I'm happy that it's coming to an end. But
do you think, Kane, I just want to say this, do you think though, like this would have been done a few weeks ago and come out and said, let's have a think, beginning of April, yeah, that West Ham have decided to sort of at the end of the season we're going to do like a mutual agreement that David Moyes is not the manager and we're going to go in a different direction. Now is the time just to get behind the team, get behind the manager, and enjoy these final moments. People would have accepted it. Everyone would have been calmed down. No one would have wanted to fucking kill each other near enough. And you know, like the last game at Luton is like it's been bad, and then like this is like a fucking testimonial, really. It's been realistic. Like it feels flat to me. It feels flat. It feels like it's definitely the right thing to do. Moyes needed to go in the end, yeah, because obviously it couldn't continue. Right, it was becoming untenable to a point. But this situation has been escalating and escalating and escalating, and now it's over. Right, I think we're all at peace. Everyone. There's going to be people out there tonight who are really, really happy, celebrating that he's going. Yeah. Me, on the other hand, I've seen people die through YouTube who I've done YouTube with, and I've seen West Ham fans a West Ham fan who was a fucking passionate West Ham fan. He died a year before we won it in Prague. That man will never ever witness West Ham win the trophy, but I did. So all I can ever do is thank David Moyes for that, because if I was to go tomorrow, I've still got that memory. I've still got that in my heart and my soul. Do you know what I'm saying? So I just feel that this has just been escalating, and then Sullivan with the fucking new appointment and sticking it on Tim really to a point is a bit wrong, so to speak. But that's just me. What you saying, Kane?
I don't know, mate. Yeah, it's not. It's just not nice. It's not nice the way it's going out. And to be fair, like yesterday, I kicked off at him. Probably first time I kicked off at him in a bloody good while, to be honest with you. But you put yourself in his shoes. He's got the board sort of mugging him off. He had that fan outside Crystal Palace sort of going, what was he saying? Oh, yeah, you're rubbish. We only beat like Florentine or whatever the hell he said. He's probably sick of it. He's a human being, for God's sake. And no one's perfect. So it is a bit sad. But look, I tell you what, a 10th place season, whatever it's going to be in a quarter final, no one's going to sit there and feel miserable about that in 5 years' time. They're going to feel joyous about the trophy, joyous about the European nights. So if his worst season is 10th place, so be it, man.
Yeah. Kane, best memory for you?
Well, apart from Prague,
Yeah.
I think Seville, the last minute winner, Yamalenko, the whole Ukraine situation, our first European knockout. The performance was unbelievable. The team we played, Seville, they're second place in La Liga. Lopetegui's massive. But we absolutely destroyed them that night, and I was so proud, and I was reduced to tears. That was a brilliant night for the club.
I'm going to ask you, Worst moment.
Oh God.
There's been a few.
There's been a few. They've probably mostly been this season, haven't they? I know last season we were crap, but this season it's just been so toxic, hasn't it?
I'm gonna say for me, Frankfurt at home was the hardest one for me. Oh, listen, West Ham losing this season has been hard. Don't get me wrong, like the 5s, the 6s, and all that. But to lose against Frankfurt the way we did, and even in the second leg, to lose that game 1-0, and we're sitting there for 80 minutes of the game, 70 minutes of the game, we know we're going out, and it's just like the slow death. I remember where I was that night, and I was like, this is painful viewing. Like, this really is. This is like, we're getting done here, and we can't do nothing about it. So yeah, I'd say them. Like, I don't know about you.
Yeah, that was a horrible night. I was still a bit proud of them because they got a red card, and I still thought they fucking tried their nuts off for it. And they knew they weren't going to happen.
Yeah.
But a semi-final, I guess. Yeah, I think I might have a few tears myself. I generally thought we were going to do it as well. Every fan did. We just lived in the moment. But I think I couldn't say play Chelsea because that was rubbish. But by this point, I can't be asked them. I don't care. So you might be right there. That was probably some huge emotion, wasn't it, and a huge disappointment. But I wasn't angry or nothing. I was just, I guess, I was upset.
Gutted. Yeah, gutted, mate. Kane, I'm going to let you go. Appreciate you coming on, mate, as always, and I'll catch up again with you soon, mate. Take care. That's been Kane. For me, to round this video up on this Monday bank holiday weekend, for me, David Moyes has brought us to a standard. That's the first thing I'm going to say. And the reason why West Ham fans expect now top quality managers is because of David Moyes' standard that he's brought to the club. Now, some of the moments that he's done this season have been bad. Yeah, some of the moments have been pretty scandalous to a point. But in life, it happens. Yeah, I cannot sit on this thing in regards of Lopetegui coming in and not even telling Moyes that he's and the fan base that he's leaving. Like, the fan base have to know through journalists. Yeah, this shows the lack of class and the lack of respect from David Sullivan. Yeah, David Sullivan, I've always said this, Moyes is an employee. You can take him out of the equation and that's fine. Take him out. But David Sullivan is also a major problem. Now, the anger that you had towards David Moyes should now be turned to David Sullivan to expect the best from this club. And if we don't get the best, then you shout from the rooftops and you shout on every social media platform going. The problem is people say Sullivan's the owner. What can you do? You can do quite a lot because there's a lot more of us than there is of him. And the way he has treated Moyes in this sort of last 5-6 months, I know it's been borderline shocking. I know full well that he was having having interactions with fucking Lopetegui back in December. Yeah, I put a punt on it in January. And I spoke to, as I always on this channel, I spoke to a few people in the betting industry. They said, James, the geezer's sitting there. You know that this is it. But he's the geezer that they're targeting straight away. I did, and I've done that, and I'm quids in. Yeah, that's the first thing. I think the way this has gone on, and when you start putting the pieces together of the puzzle, you start forming the picture. Do you know what I'm saying? And the picture is that this should have been sorted out fucking 3-4 months ago. Yeah, if Moyes wasn't your guy, you should just told the fans. Simply just told the fans that he's going to be leaving. People could have enjoyed the moment and said, right, he's leaving, fair enough. Yeah, a lot of people who would have been celebrating it, but to celebrate it now and for us fans to keep suffering every week, right, until the end, basically, it's borderline shocking from the owners of the club. Do you know what I'm saying? Moyes, for me, has brought us Jared Bowen. He's brought us some decent players to this club. Obviously, Kudus is here, yeah, and that was obviously from Steiden and Noble last year. But he's brought some really sort of unbelievable players to the club, really, to a point. I remember when James Tarkowski was linked to West Ham, and I think it was Burnley at the time, wanted 45 million for him. He went down the road to Watford and got Craig Dawson for 2.2 million. No one believed in Craig Dawson. No one thought Craig Dawson was going to be a player that he was. And Moyes brought him in, and yeah, like Craig Dawson was like one of our top defenders. Do you know what I'm saying? Obviously, we had some bad signings. Yeah, so with every good, you're going to get bad, but you've got to look at the good. I think Mikel Antonio's time under David Moyes has been his best moments. I'm going to be honest. Like, I don't remember him being better with any other manager. I might be wrong there, but I just think under Moyes, he's been very, very good. And obviously, like, Prague will always be remembered. Do you know what I'm saying? Like Declan was raised up by Moyes to a point. Obviously, Moyes come in, Declan was building that stature, and obviously that story of Moyes coming in, because he did save us, because Pellegrini would have sent us down with Roberto in charge of the fucking goal. Moyes coming in, saving us, and in that sort of COVID season where that was pretty unbelievable, Jesse Lingard coming in and everything, to all lead to Prague and to win the trophy. Yeah, as fans. Now, I'm a 37-year-old man. I've never seen West Ham win a trophy, yeah, until that night. And the closest I've ever seen was 2006 in the FA Cup final. Yeah, I've seen a lot of shit with West Ham over the years. I've seen us go down. I've seen us nearly go out of business. I've seen us lose all our key players of the Academy of Football back in 2003. I've seen a lot of shit. And for me, when I look at this, it's been a really, really good journey, but the standard has been set now. And Moyes has done that by setting that standard. Now, Lopetegui's coming in. Yeah. Anyone that says he's not coming in, he's coming. Trust me. I know he's definitely 100% coming. And he's got to have a fresh slate. Yeah. Whether you like it or not, whether you think he's the right man or not, all right, the slate has to be wiped clean. Yeah. As silk. And basically now we've all just got to come together, get this season done, say goodbye to David Moyes, and move on from next season onwards with Julian Lopetegui. Yeah. Hopefully he is the right man. Yeah. And he's the right man to sort of put us up to that standard, if not raise us higher. But that will remain to be seen. But listen, I'm going to wrap this video up. I appreciate all the boys who come on this video. Anyone else who ever wants to come on, they're more than welcome to come on this channel. Yeah, and have their say, right? In regards to West Ham. It's a sad day, man. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and celebrate. It's the right time for Moyes to go. Yeah, it really is. And you've got to respect what the geezer's done, because the geezer's raised West Ham up to a standard that we've never been to before. Do you know what I'm saying? Not for a long time. And that deserves respect. Now it's over to Mr. Sullivan to decide to show ambition of his own by pumping money into his club in the summer and help inspire and find talent all around the planet. Will it happen? I hope so, but I can never fucking trust Sullivan, mate. Sorry, I just don't. So there you go. Anyway, have a good Monday evening wherever you are, and I will see you again in the next one. Take care.